Welcome to our course, Playing DFS on FanDuel. This first video will be an introduction to what you're going to learn in the rest of the course. First off, who am I? My name is Bob. I'm a teacher here on Udemy of a number of courses on fantasy football and also on sports betting. And I think that this course for FanDuel is going to perfectly blend those two worlds. There's an element of gambling involved in FanDuel. Whether or not the government agrees with that is a different story. But there's also a lot of sports action involved in this, and it's clearly very related to fantasy football. So I think that I'm perfectly qualified to be a teacher of this. Also, I've been playing FanDuel for about 3 years now, before most people had heard about it and before it became this big thing that you see on all of the TV commercials. So I have a history with the site. I have a history with gambling and with fantasy football as well. Okay, what are we going to learn in this class? There's a lot of different elements to playing FanDuel. You need to understand how FanDuel works on general principle. You need to understand the difference between the different types of games, how to choose players, and how to make the right decisions with your money so that you'll always walk out with more money than you walk in with. Obviously, this is a gambling site, so it's hard for me to say I can guarantee that you're going to make money, but I will say that I've sort of done one-on-one type of classes with people on FanDuel, and they almost always end up making at least a little bit of money every week. I've made a few $1,000s on FanDuel myself. I've never won $1 million tournament or anything, and in fact, I usually don't play very many tournaments, but I do have a lot of expertise in this arena, and I want to pass down to you as much knowledge as you can possibly get. So this course will have 9 videos about different elements of playing on FanDuel, and we're going to cover every major section that you'll need to know in order to play successfully. Perhaps before we get too far involved in this course, the most important question that you might be asking yourself is it legal? And as of the time I'm recording this, FanDuel is legal in all but 5 states in the United States, and it's legal in almost every country that they allow to play. Now, the biggest state that is fighting against FanDuel as I'm recording this is Nevada. However, what Nevada has done is they've allowed their casinos to set up their own DFS type games. So you can take a lot of the lessons that you've learned here, you can apply them to casino gambling. And I think that you can also apply a lot of it to just regular, everyday NFL football and fantasy football. But is it legal? You probably want to check on the FanDuel website to see if they'll allow you to sign up first. Their terms of service is a great place to start looking for this. But like I said, as of now, totally legal. How easy is it to play on FanDuel? I think it's incredibly easy. I think that with what you have to do, you just pick 9 players. You're going to pick 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 defense, and 1 kicker. And you play these players against either one person or against many people, and whichever one scores the most points in a fantasy football type setting, you win money. And it's a very easy system to work with. What I think the hardest part is making the choices of players and managing your money. So that's primarily what we're going to cover, although we will talk about player selection and things like that as well. Can you make real money doing this? Absolutely. FanDuel pays out in a huge quantity of money every single week. They have either a millionaire tournament, or now they've currently dropped the price down to about $500,000 for the winner. And if you win just that tournament, you're set for quite a long time. However, you can play in any sort of environment that you want. They have promo codes available that will allow you to play in free tournament games, where you can start off with nothing and walk away with some money that you can bankroll into future earnings bonuses. We're going to talk in the second video about the best way to take advantage of these bonuses, but for now, can you make real money doing this? Absolutely. I receive checks all the time from FanDuel when I decide to cash out portions of my balance. One last slide for this video, which is how is FanDuel different from regular fantasy? And I think that for some people it's going to be very different, and for other people it won't be very different at all. The major difference between playing on FanDuel as opposed to playing a regular fantasy league is that with a regular fantasy league, one where you draft players, set your lineup of just those players, and then play for a season long experience, FanDuel lets you play 1 week at a time. What you do is you choose based on your belief on how well they do and how much of the acquisition budget you have left, which players you want on your team. And what's great about that is you're not stuck with anybody. You can play any player at any time. You don't need to worry about bye weeks because those players will be automatically filtered out. And, if you play a lineup in week 1 and it does really terrible, you can swap out those players and not have to play with them again if you don't want to. So it is very similar to fantasy football. I mean, the scoring is basically the same. The way you choose players, the way that the game sort of runs is very similar. But in terms of setting lineups, choosing which players are on your team, it's very different. So it's kind of a combination of both for different people.